The PR that we do outside of the broadband launch, which was very much driven around PR, the PR that we do otherwise, that Virgin does otherwise, is very much around finding a fundamental human truth and creating an activity and a hype around it. The don't drink and dial sort of whole scenario was only driven out of PR. There was no other marketing that went behind it. There was no other spend that went behind it. But it was a simple human truth that when people drink, they tend to dial, and they tend to dial their old ex-girlfriend, they tend to dial their boss and tell him what a dick he is, and all of those kind of things. The campaign was DUI, dialing under the influence. It started with a discussion around the idea that you do stupid things when you've been drinking, and you send texts which you shouldn't send, you phone people you shouldn't call, etc., etc. And it was just literally a discussion around that. And from that came up with the idea, wouldn't it be cool if you could block the numbers which you absolutely mustn't call once you've been out having drinks? It was literally one of those office conversations. You know, a Monday morning, come in, everyone's had a big weekend, and someone goes, "Oh my God, you won't believe what I did." And it was that kind of conversation that stimulated it. And one of our technical guys said it's a simple thing to do, simple thing to set up. And we created this product, and then we went out and went, well, you know, we've got no budgets. We can't go out and do a big marketing thing. It's not something that's going to generate a huge amount of revenue, but it can generate a huge amount of interest. So we went out and we just basically flogged the story to as many journalists as we could who would take it as an interest story. And we launched it just before Christmas, the festive season. The only thing we did other than that was we made up beer coasters and put them in pubs. And it sort of developed a life of its own where people spoke about it. People started talking about the service in pubs, in clubs, while they were out socializing. People started talking about the service, and people going, shit, you know what, they've got this cool service where you can actually text them with 5 numbers and they'll bar them from 11 o'clock at night until 5 the next morning. You can't call them. And they go, how cool is that? All my ex-girlfriends covered. The whole fundamental behind that was not necessarily to get everyone to use the service. The idea was to get everyone talking about the fact that Virgin is cool. Virgin's one of them. Virgin understands them. And the rescue ring was something that came out of the same thing. The idea behind that was if you're on a date and it's not going so well, you could text to a number, and 2 minutes later we would call you back. And the recording would prompt you through what to say. So you'd get a call and you'd go, oh, sorry, I just have to take this. And the call would say, okay, now you must say, uh-huh, and you'd go, uh-huh, and say, okay, and go, really? And you'd go, really? And go, but you mean I have to go now? And you'd say, but you mean I have to go now? And they go, okay, okay, well, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And that it talked you through how to get out of your bad date. And it was the same thing. It wasn't a service that was about doing a huge amount of revenue or a huge amount of usage, but it had such talkability and such talk factor around it. These are just cool, fun things. They're exciting. They're different. And most of all, they're just entertaining to talk about. And they stimulate another conversation. They stimulate the conversation of, oh, shit, I wish I'd had that when I was on this date. You should have seen this, you know, the sort of swamp donkey that I was out with. I think of these as small products or small services. They have to be grounded in something that people immediately get and something that immediately resonates with people. PR from a Virgin point of view sits at the heart of everything we do. It literally does, internally and externally. Every single message that goes out from the company runs through the PR organization. It always does. They control the messaging to market, for want of a better description. Yes, there's advertising, but they're involved at an advertising level. They're involved at a briefing level. But all the messaging that goes out, they sit at the heart of it. And the heart of it is ensuring that you sound like Virgin, you look like Virgin, you taste like Virgin every time you do something. And PR is an innovation. PR is about innovation. PR comes up with a lot of the stuff with Virgin. We didn't have big budgets. We didn't have massive product innovation all the time, but we always had a presence. And that's true innovation. True innovation is about thinking about things differently as opposed to creating something different. And that's the difference.